Secrets Behind Every Episode. Oh my God, I can't even. It's not staying. Welcome back to part 2 of our Marketing Secrets Behind Ela Earth as part of our Lessons from a Founder series. If you haven't already seen part 1, go check it out. We cover all of the visible aspects of marketing such as UGC, influencer, content and ads. But today we're lifting the lid on the back end and the not so glam side that is so important. I'm talking budgets, platform strategies, website, ad performance behind the scenes, and how we plan and execute big product launches, sale events, and so much more. Nick and Shay are here with me again to talk you through all of the things that go on behind the scenes of Ela Earth's budget and marketing. So Nick, talk us through budget. I know that we have a loose budget, but there's obviously a lot of moving parts. There's a lot that goes into real-time testing. So how does it work? You've got something on paper, you've got a budget on paper, but how does it actually transcend?
Well, we don't even really have like a set budget even on paper. We're really flexible with the budget, but what we're actually looking at is our return on ad spend and our MER, which is our marketing efficiency ratio. So we have like a target ROAS and a target MER. As long as we're hitting what we want those numbers to be, we basically just keep scaling our ad spend because we're wanting to grow as a business. Yeah. So we don't really have like a set budget per quarter or anything like that. It's more just like how much can we scale the business while maintaining our target ROAS and MER. So yeah, as long as we're hitting those numbers, we can just keep pumping budget into advertising. But on the flip side, if we are like sold out of certain products, for example, then we have to start pulling the budget back because we're going to start overspending if things are sold out. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to the budget, and it's something that we have to watch in real time and make updates just depending on stock levels and even just like seasonal trends and things like that.
And your budget is spread across so many different elements of our platform. So we've got obviously Facebook and Meta, TikTok, EDMs, all that sort of stuff.
Google.
Influencers. So, okay, let's say we don't have a budget on paper, so to say. You've got a bit of a roundabout idea of how much you're spending each day.
That's right. And then we kind of just monitor how each of those platforms are performing as well, and we might shift budgets if a certain platform is starting to do really well. So for example, TikTok, we've previously had quite a small budget because that was like a new platform for us. We've been getting really good results, and now we're kind of moving some budget into TikTok from Meta because we're seeing almost better results in some ways through TikTok. We're kind of just always looking. We use a platform called Triple Whale that gives us a really holistic view of how our budgets are performing across all of those platforms, and then we basically just move things around depending on what's working, what's not working. So that's just for like our advertising in general, but if we're running like a specific campaign like a sale, then we do usually set a budget for that. And basically I work really closely, as you know, with your husband Chris, and we kind of forecast what we think the overall revenue is going to be based on like what we've got in stock and looking back at data from like the previous year, and then based on what we think that projection will be, that's kind of where we come up with our budget. That makes sense.
And so so Facebook, TikTok, more the ad side of things, like Google. Is Google pretty much like a set kind of flat budget that we use?
Pretty much, but we have to adjust our budget in Google just depending on stock levels. That's really the only time we move budgets around in Google, is if we're out of stock, then we pull budgets back, and then when we restock, we ramp them back up.
So it kind of stays relatively the same.
Google's pretty consistent for us.
And then so what's the difference between that and Facebook and TikTok? Like, why do things perform better than the other?
I think because Facebook and TikTok is really working to like find your audience, whereas Google, it's like people are searching things and typing things in. So I think Google can just find our audience quicker because people are searching for us or searching for our particular products. Whereas on social media platforms, the
so many variables.
There's so many variables, and the platforms have to do a lot of work to try and figure out like who our audience is, because they're not necessarily on Facebook like looking for our product, they're just using it as a social media platform, whereas Google, they're kind of like searching for things. Okay. Oh my God, there's so much to deep dive on Facebook, but I don't know if we've got time for that. That's a whole episode.
And then so each month, are you giving Shay and Georgia, our influence coordinator and content coordinator, a budget for influencers?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about that, Shay.
So we do have a monthly budget. We kind of have like a max to spend. It has gone up as we've grown more as well. And and even like Nick was saying, when we have like campaigns and sales, it might go up a little bit more again. But yeah, we kind of have a rough budget per month that we will divide between like paid influencers and then that budget as well with like gifted product.
And then we don't take into consideration how much it actually costs for creating our internal content and UGC. But how often are you spending, like how many days would you spend creating UGC content for us offsite?
So I usually schedule in one full day, content day, that I bulk film content for the whole month ahead. And that's usually for like Instagram and for ads, whereas TikTok, I'm filming content every single day for something for TikTok.
Okay.
But I feel like as we're growing now, we have more products, we definitely need to add some more days into the calendar.
A lot more days.
Yeah.
Look, we don't always want to share all of our numbers and revenue and all of that sort of stuff, mainly because there's things that we want to share and then there are things that we want to keep private. But I do feel that people will want to know what we would be spending every day as a general, and then what would we look to spend on ads through a sale period or a product launch.
So just on a general day-to-day basis, we would probably spend around $7,000 on ads, and that's like split across all of those different platforms. But then for a sale,
it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
A day,
It's a lot per day.
Yeah, and like I said, that's
Needs
why
to
we just have
happen,
to be like monitoring like our return on ad spend and our MER to make sure that we're getting the return on what we are spending. But then for a sale, like if it's a big sale like Black Friday, I think we spent over $100,000 last year from memory. So it
and
really
what's that like over couple
that was
like
over
4 days?
4 days. Yeah.
And obviously the bigger your business gets, the more you're going to spend. So we're kind of sitting at say 100,000 over a Black Friday period of like 3 or 4 days. Other businesses are so much more, and then others are not. And obviously we all have our different budgets and investments, but really then have to think about your MERs and your ROAS and all of that sort of stuff.
I think it's different for every business as well. Like every business needs to figure out their own ROAS and MER that they need to be profitable and scale. Do you know what I mean? So I
agree.
Also worth noting that most of our budget goes towards acquiring new customers, and then maybe 20% of our budget is like retargeting people. So that might be helpful for people to know that, we have like a percentage of budget that goes towards retargeting people that have like been on our website or they've interacted, added to cart and things like that. But the majority of our budget goes into acquiring like new customers and bringing people into our marketing funnel.
Okay. So Nick, obviously we've been doing Facebook ads for a little while now, and you have seen so many changes on that platform. It is continuously changing. It is hard to understand sometimes. Obviously you have your foundations there, and there are a few things that you need to know, and one of them is ROAS and what that means and what that looks like, because obviously you need to know what a ROAS is that is not performing, or an ad that is not performing versus an ad that is, and when to switch it off. So for those people that don't know, what is ROAS?
So ROAS is essentially return on ad spend. So as an example, if you have an ad running and the ROAS is 3 and you spent $10, you'll make $30.
I gave you an ad spend of $100 a day, and the ROAS is 3. We're making $300.
Correct.
Yeah.
And every business is obviously going to have a different like target ROAS of what they need to be profitable. But for us, if I was like testing new ads and looking at their performance, any ads that have a ROAS of over like 2.5 is like essentially profitable for us, but we really want it to be over 3. So if they're sitting between like 2.5 and 3, we'd kind of just monitor that one and just see how it continues to perform.
So it's profitable, but it's not ideal.
It's still profitable, but it's not like a best, like one of our top performers. Whereas anything with a ROAS of like 3 up until like 10 even on sale days, that's a really strong performing ad for us. So definitely looking at ROAS when I'm like analyzing our ads, but also CPAs, which is cost per acquisition. So, and again, every business is going to be different, and even we have different like target CPAs for each of our products, because some of our products are more expensive, and so we're happy to spend a little bit more to acquire a customer for that product. Whereas some of our products that are cheaper, we don't want to be spending as much to acquire customers for those products, if that makes sense. And then also click-through rates as well is something that I would be looking at alongside ROAS, because if something has a really high click-through rate but the ROAS is like pretty average, the ad is obviously engaging and people are clicking, so that would be a sign to maybe look at something on the website, like why isn't this ad leading to conversions but it's getting a really good click-through rate. And often it just might be that the product's out of stock or something and we haven't realised that there's still an ad running for it, or maybe there's a better way we could like merchandise that page on the website.
Okay, cool. So there's a lot of like psychology behind that as well. So if we were to switch off our ads, what would that do to our business?
Business. Shut everything down.
We are done.
I'd lose my job.
Right.
That would have a huge impact because then I don't know how you're relying on getting new customers. Like we need those ads. We don't have a shop front. We don't have people walking past our store. So ads is how we're getting people aware of our brand. So we definitely don't want to switch all of our ads
you just
off.
wouldn't. And I mean, now we are in a position where Ela Earth has got a really good brand recognition, and we see when people are searching into Google what they're typing in, and they're looking for Ela Earth. So that's really important for us to continue building that, because if there was something to happen and something happens to Facebook, something happens to TikTok, we still need some brand recognition, which is why that branding or the content that we're creating is not necessarily like for ads, but it's so people trust us as well. And so they're continually coming here. So you can't just get all of your customers through ads. Hey, like you need to have trust and you need to have brand recognition. So I think the two go
you definitely
really
need both. And even like working with more influencers now, like because they're not ads, but it's just another avenue for us to start reaching all of these new audiences as well. So I think you definitely need to have everything working together to get the best results.
And then different platforms like our email platform, we have a really strong email platform, which also has cost us a lot of money to get that. But I remember years ago, someone was like, do not rely on Instagram and Facebook as your sole way of getting customers, because again, if that was to go, you would want a really strong database. And thankfully we have invested a lot of money into getting a strong database by getting people to sign up to our newsletter when they're on the site, and they do, thank goodness. But then also that whole email structure really has a lot of thought and a lot of detail into it for all of the flows, the abandoned cart, the welcome flows, all of those sort of things. And obviously it's great for our customers to sign up because they are first to hear about exclusive deals, new products. They get incentivized to sign up as well, which is great. So I think my advice would be, if you're going to look at Facebook ads, have a budget and invest that time of 10 days. Well, actually, I would even say longer for a brand new business.
With our ads, I test them for 10 days, but we've built up, like Facebook has really gotten to know our audience and our pixel, and so that's a good time frame for us. But if you're a brand new baby business, you'd have to run it for longer than that, like a month or two, and start with a small budget, but just Facebook needs time to learn. Yeah.
So even if, again,
don't be disheartened if the first week nothing's happening, because there is that learning phase that you have to go through.
And only commit to investing in what you feel is that you can actually do. Don't put yourself into all this stress and then expect a return straight away, because more than likely it's just not going to happen.
And if you are starting with ads, I would just look back over your existing Instagram or TikTok and just pick out what's your top performing organic content so far, and that's what I would choose to run as ads initially, instead of trying to come up with all these new different ideas. Go with what you've already tested and seen results from, and then just put budget behind that as an
that's
ad.
a great idea.
Okay, so with all of the different ad platforms, so we've got Meta, TikTok and Google, they're all pretty similar in terms of how you set up campaigns and ads, but the main difference that I've found is our Facebook ads tend to perform for a lot longer. The ads have a lot more longevity. We've got ads that we've been running for 6 months, some even maybe close to a year, that's still continue to perform really strongly, and those ads have lots of comments on them now, lots of social proof, whereas TikTok, the ads fatigue much quicker. I'm refreshing our TikTok ads basically fortnightly, because after 2 weeks they've kind of fizzled out, and then you need new content.
Wow.
So that's the main difference is Facebook, things perform for a lot longer. TikTok, we're constantly having to recycle our ads. Yeah. But we also post a lot of content on TikTok, so I always have new ads to add in there. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of our day-to-day marketing and structure and our marketing KPIs, you guys have got everything sorted. It's like Shay posts this many a week, she creates this, you're creating these ads, you're posting that. This is kind of a rough budget of what we're spending.
Yeah.
This is what our ROAS looks like. That's what we're going to be really happy with. But that's kind of more of just a general day-to-day when there's no product launches, no sales, anything
business
like
as usual.
that. Just business as usual. So let's talk product launches, which for us, we aren't like a high turnover business. We're not high fashion. We're not doing product drops and launches all the time. So it really means a lot to us when we do a product launch, and there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
And there's a huge process, isn't there? It's not, so it's different to just your general day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk marketing firstly.
Yeah.
How far in advance do you start planning when we have a product launch?
Well, we would probably start even just like thinking about it as soon as you've told us like what the new products are going to be.
Yeah.
As soon as you start receiving samples, like our minds would start like ticking away. And then I would do a bit of work coming up with like the overall strategy for the product launch. So doing like a deep dive into the product and really figuring out like what angles we're going to use to promote it. Who is the audience, like what's really going to sell the product to them, and just making sure we really understand the product that we're launching. Then I will like project manage the launch. So I'll make like a project in Asana. There's so many tasks that everyone needs to do before a product launch. So make a big project, assign everyone's tasks out, start coming up with what the strategy is going to be for the launch. So how far out are we going to start teasing that we have a new product coming? When are we going to put the products on the website and get people to start previewing the collection and signing up for updates? What's going to happen on launch day, or even like the day before, the week leading up to launch day? How many emails are we going to send? So there's a lot of like planning out the overall strategy.
There's so much. So that's really strategy based, hey?
Yeah.
And then you've got like budget, because as you were saying, we don't really have like when we are doing business as usual, we don't really have like a budget. We kind of roughly know how much we're spending.
Yeah.
And hopefully if everything's performing well, we'll keep increasing that. But for a product launch, if we're talking Facebook, Meta, Google, and TikTok, what would you propose to me to spend?
Well, I would probably spend a small amount of budget in maybe like the week leading up to the product launch, getting people to sign up to join the wait list or be notified when we launch. But that might be just like a few hundred a day, because we'll be doing a lot of like sneak peeks and promotion on our social media and through our email list and our Facebook community. So that's really going to be the main way that the main hype will be through our existing platforms. But then we will allocate a small budget to getting people to sign up to find out when the product is launching. And then the day of the launch, I would have like quite a few ads ready to just switch on and start testing. As for like a specific budget, I guess it depends like how many products are launching and what the launch actually is.
It's all variables, isn't it?
But I would start with like a smaller budget for like testing, because we don't know yet what ads are going to work best for these new products. So we would do like a bit of testing, and then once we've identified like the winning ads, I would start like ramping those up quite quickly to really start getting them out there.
Yeah. So let's say for a new product, how many ads would you set up? Like 10?
Yeah, because you want to test different things. Like let's say we've got a particular bag. I want to test like just images of the product with text. Then I want to test like lifestyle images of like a model with the product. Then we'd have so many videos that we want to test, like showing different angles, like maybe one that's like a voiceover, one that has like the features of the bag popping up. Some like UGC videos, some like chatty review videos. So probably like 10 different like concepts to start with would be a good starting point.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a lot of content. So obviously you're so busy like in the lead up to this, because by the sounds of it, a lot of that is kind of falling on you for that. So how do you structure then your content around a product launch, or content days, or creation?
So my role is to come up with the content and like plan the content strategy. So I'll like write down a list of everything that I want to capture leading up to the launch. So like sneak peeks, a lot of like in-office type stuff as well. Sneak peeks within our community, on our TikTok and our Instagram. And then I have like a little strategy of content that I want to get like at our photo shoot. So like that's where we can like
we get a lot of content
launch, like
at our photo shoots that we end up using for ads.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we
Like,
see
I've
the bag in
never known
action.
this.
So like that's when we want to capture as much as we can, ready for like when we actually launch the product.
Yeah.
And I feel like what we found works well, like people want to really see like the behind the scenes process of like coming up with the idea and like a lot of like founder content of like how the design process
samples
arriving.
reactions. So that's why I bring my phone out every single chance I get. Anytime you get a package, I'll be there with my phone to like film it.
Literally.
Because I will always use that like later on when we actually launch the product.
Yeah, you're so proactive like that. And I think that's really important as well, because a lot of the products that we're designing and releasing for Ela Earth is because of our customers. Because
they're asking for.
It's what they're asking for. So taking them on that journey is so important for us, because we're doing it because they've asked for it. And then every now and then, you know, I'll do something because I just feel like doing it because they haven't asked for it, but I feel like it's something that we could all do with.
And I feel like that hype phase before the launch is so important because we want people to be ready to buy on launch day. Like we don't want to launch and no one knows, like it's their first time knowing about the product, because people need time to like make a decision on when they're going to buy. And so we kind of have a bit of a formula that we follow for a product launch, where we would probably start sharing like some vague sneak peeks maybe a month before, and then like 2 weeks before we really start sharing like this is what's coming, here's how we came up with the design, here's the photo shoot BTS.
That is exciting. I love seeing people's reactions when we do that. And again, that's all, that stuff isn't costing us. Like that's really our community that are engaging with us, which I absolutely love.
We like, not a lot of brands do this, but we always have the products on the website before the launch, sometimes even like 2 weeks before the launch, because like I said, we want people to be ready to buy, so people can go on the website, see how much the product costs, read the product description, read about all the features, look through all the photos. It gives them time to ask questions, and then it helps our customer service team because we can start to anticipate like what questions we're going to be receiving about these products and add more information to the website if we need to, but also getting people to sign up to be notified. And so that is something that has always worked really well for us. And so we do that every time we launch a new product. And then we can then, like I said, run that campaign leading up to the launch, get like sending people to the website to preview the collection and to sign up to be notified when we launch. So that's something that works really well for us.
And again, I just feel like we've done it so many times. We know what works. We've tested so many different things. So the things that we are, the information that we're giving right now is tried and tested. We're literally giving you the things that work. Lucky you. Because we have done all the testing for you.
And then a couple of extra things that we might do around launch day would be like maybe a giveaway on our social media platforms, or we might be like refunding a certain amount of orders like during the first hour or something, just like little fun things like that to incentivize people to, you know, purchase and you know, get involved in the launch. And what else? We'll usually jump on stories like the day before, answer questions, like, you know, use countdown timers, that kind of thing, and just really like hype it up.
Good. And it works so well.
It works. Exciting products launching this year, so that'll be exciting to see them finally out into the world.
Goodness. My head has been spinning for like the last 5 months working on these products, and again,
I can't wait. You guys you're not even ready. There's so many beautiful things coming.
I'm not ready. I don't think any of us are actually. No one is ready for this just right now. And again, because we aren't doing this regularly, those product drops. So again, it just means so much to us when we do, because it's real quality products that we've worked a long time on to make sure that we get it right for our customers. So there's lots of wonderful things happening this year. Guys, thank you so much. We really hope that you got so much out of this. I know, you know, we're talking numbers. We're saying, you know, $7,000 here, ROAS this, MERs this, and do, you know, put a countdown timer on, etc. And there's a lot to digest. I totally get that. Some of it may not make sense. Some of it you might have been scribbling down some notes. Just work with what works for you. You know, you might have a totally different process, and if that's the case, we'd love to hear from you as well, because this is all about sharing, and we really hope that you get something out of it. And for those of you that have a small business or a small brand, or you're starting out, it is hard, but if you can invest in ads, build up your database, create lots of content, build up hype around your business and around your product launches, I think you will, you know, they're the things that are going to definitely help to make an impact on your return as well. So anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any other questions, which I'm sure you do, please ask us, comment below, and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Bye.
Bye.